Well, first, I think strategically located on the border is an advantage to the Port of Brownsville. We're the only deep water seaport located directly on the border with between the United States and Mexico. Mexico is currently undergoing a renaissance of, obviously, nearshoring and reshoring, certainly away from Asia back to Mexico. It's well poised to continue that momentum. You've seen the increase already, the post-pandemic increase in the automobile industry. Of course, that bodes well for our number one customer, which is the steel business with Ternium de Mexico. But I think all of those are advantages specifically for this region. And I'll talk about the region, not so much about the Port of Brownsville and Brownsville per se, because that's really the history of the region. I mean, it's really cross-border trade. Our economies are integrally linked. Most of what we do is tied to Mexico and what is happening in Mexico. 90% of our business is related to Mexico. So I think from that position, strategic location is imperative. Plus infrastructure. We're starting to see the development of infrastructure that did not exist, 20, 30, 40 years ago. Certainly the fact that we have a deep water sea channel and it's going to get deeper allows us to reach international markets that we otherwise could reach. Rail infrastructure, we're the only rail bridge east of Laredo that serves the region very well. We're starting to see the increase in large infrastructure to fuel industry, whether it's electrical improvements, pipeline connectivity, road improvements are getting better, the interstate system is coming to the region. And so as a whole, I think we're reaching a point where we can take advantage of our competitive location in the region because of the logistics platform that we offer, not only U.S. and domestic users, but obviously Mexico, and really allows us to compete in that in international market that the region does very, very well. We are a break bulk port, which means as we handle single commodities, but in large quantities. And when you really look at the Port of Brownsville, you really look at such commodities as steel. We are the principal mover of steel into Mexico than any other U.S. port. And primarily when we talk about steel, we talk about the feedstock that goes to the mills in Monterrey. Pesquería, Ternium de Mexico, the premier steel company in Mexico, is a prime example. So we provide the feedstock that goes to them, and their customers are the automobile industry, the white appliance industry, the utility industry, the construction industry. So it all starts here. And in many cases, as a finished product, whether it's a white appliance or not, really, that's what comes back from Mexico and crosses the border at Laredo or in the valley. And so you can see how it all begins here, and in many cases it ends here as well when it crosses into as a domestic product into U.S. market. So there's a lot of commodities, grain commodities, aggregate commodities, cement. So we don't just handle one business. We actual multiple types of cargoes, and our motto is, if we can't get it right the first time, we'll get it right the second time. So we're certainly open for business. And the other thing goes back to the logistics connectivity, and that's something the region does very, very well. It knows how to move commodities of all sorts back and forth across the border, and again, it serves us well with the a level of service that is offered here in the Rio Grande Valley by the various companies who are involved in that logistics trade. In terms of jobs, we impact about 51,000 jobs in the state of Texas, and that may mean that could be truckers or transporters or any form of contact that is derived from business with the Port of Brownsville impacts the state. In the region, it's closer to 10,000 jobs. About 4,500 of those are jobs that are present here at the port with all the companies that exist here. The balance is the indirect impact from all of those that do business with the businesses here at the port. On a fiscal note, Brownsville, or the Port of Brownsville, impacts the state of Texas for over $3 billion of impact. And more importantly, in the region, it's about $2.6 billion. And of course, that everything from direct wages to indirect. And so, that is significant. We're the largest industrial employer in the region. Those companies that are large scale, heavy industry that are here, they're here because this is where they need to be and this is where they're supposed to be. And a lot of them are here simply because of the nature of the need for access to deep water or international connectivity. And so, the area is, again, the impact to the region is very significant. And it really isn't just a Brownsville thing. It's really a Rio Grande Valley thing. And more importantly, it's a border thing. It impacts northern Mexico just as much as it impacts in a very positive way South Texas.